ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Terror Talks. We've got another great episode for you today. We are here on episode 44, where we are wrapping up the South Carolina haunts that we visited. As you may know from several of our other episodes, we visited several houses across North Georgia, several houses across South Carolina. We did some events down in Florida. We did some events in North Carolina. We did some events all down here in this sort of southeastern region. And so we are finishing up the October 2nd Scream tour, if you will, of South Carolina. I will say one of the houses we did not attend on October 2nd, but still, I'm going to include it in the overall thing. But the two houses that we're covering today, we're doing another double episode here on episode 44. That's right, we're on episode 44, guys. Racking them up now as we get closer to the big day. We are one day away as of the day you're listening to this. But yeah, we're talking all about Cedar Creek Haunted House and Hall of Horrors Haunted House. So these are two, basically, if you will, sort of classic haunts. They're not your big mega haunts that are in these giant sound stages or warehouses or what have you. These are mom and pop shops, or not mom and pop shops, but these are smaller, family-oriented, really down-to-earth people, down-to-earth establishments. So we wanted to be sure that we talked about both of them because they deserve their place among the ranks too. And sometimes these are the best houses that you will ever attend. So we're going to start off with Cedar Creek Haunted House, and we're going to be rattling things off pretty quick here, so stay with us, okay? So on Friday, October 1st, Cedar Creek opened their doors to their first unsuspecting victims for the 2021 haunt season, which would feature a haunted trail and maze all wrapped into one. This was our first time attending this attraction, as last year we did not manage to make it out there. So the house was sort of off our radar, and last year when we went to Kreepy Hollow, we drove by, we saw a sign for it, and we drove to kind of see where this haunt was, and it was closed by the time we had driven by it. Well, this year, as we were going to Scream Makers and Kreepy Hollow, we saw the sign again, and I was sort of like, you know what? Maybe we'll check it out if we've got time. And we got seriously disappointed at both Scream Makers and Kreepy Hollow, and so I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go ahead. Let's add it to the list. Let's check it out tonight. Why not? So we did, and honestly, it was better than the two houses that are these big mega houses. These big mega attractions. It was so much better than that. We had a really great time at this one, and so we're really, really glad that we found it. And it was sort of the redemption story, if you will, for Bishopville, South Carolina, because in Bishopville you had these three haunts. You had Scream Makers, Kreepy Hollow, and then Cedar Creek Haunted House. And it's basically two mega haunts and a little tiny family-run haunt sort of living in the shadow, and the family-run haunt is better. It's amazing. And so we're going to really dive into why we think that this house is better. So let's just not waste any time. Let's get to it. So, as you know, we're breaking the categories up into 6 categories, or each of the haunts into 6 categories. And so we're going to go ahead and just sort of dive right in. So when you first arrive at Cedar Creek Haunted House, you're a little unsure of what to think. You know, you've seen it before. It's this old rundown sort of looking place, but there's actually a lot of like infrastructure almost to it. And it's really shocking how much fun you have when you get there. And it, like I said, it's not your typical haunt. It's a family run. It's a smaller one. It's not meant to be this big mega attraction. It's meant to be old-fashioned haunted house. And it's meant to take you back to the original roots of what haunted houses were designed to do. And that's scare you and have a fun time while doing it. And I will tell you, I smiled from ear to ear coming out of this haunt. I laughed, I cried, I did all that fun stuff. I screamed, ran, everything. I loved it. Hell, at the end of the entire walkthrough, there were some guys with chainsaws, and they were like sort of doing the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of thing. They had the leather face on and all that fun stuff. And I ran just for the fun of it because they were right there with the saws. I'm like, let's go! And I just ran and started running for the parking lot. I could see the end, so I ran for it because I was the last one. I was the only one. I was alone. and they loved it. They had a great time with it. The people there, we'll talk about them, but everything about it was just so much fun. And this, like I said, it's a good old-fashioned haunted house. It's a feel-good house. It's one that really is great for anybody. You're going to have a fun time going through this one because they don't rely on these major gimmicks, and we'll sort of break that down as we go. So let's get into it. So for sets, we gave them a 4 out of 5 screams. So like I said, the sets are not anything immaculate. It's not like you have these giant skyscraper sets or anything like that. But what little bit you do have is quite impressive. When you first arrive, you arrive at this sort of facade that is meant to represent Michael Myers' home. And that was really cool to see it because it's a really convincing house. And you're like, oh, I wonder what's going to be in there. Once you get in there, you're kind of like all turned around. You're trying to figure out where you're going and stuff. And then once you get past that, you get to the maze. And we'll talk about that last, even though it is second in the lineup. And then you get to the back half, which is the trail. And there's some really cool sets back there. And the great thing about it is they sort of use everything to tie in the sort of theme of where you are. So, because you're out in the woods, they sort of go with this almost camp-esque theme, like places you're going to see that you would see out here in the woods. It's not like it's forcing some sort of location on you. So there's a tent out there. You go by the Camp Crystal Lake and you see Jason Voorhees. You come across Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's really great. Now, the reason that I got to be a stickler, because like I said, I've always got to be fair with each of these haunts, and so this is a reason. This is one of them. In the maze and at one point on the trail, they did have a bunch of 2x4s in the black tarp. If you've heard any of my episodes, you know I'm a stickler for those. I don't like them. It irritates me to no end when I see them. And in my opinion, it's just sort of a lazy way of doing a haunt. And I feel like if you're going to go as far as to do everything else, you need to go ahead and try your best to flesh that out to make it not look such an eyesore. So unfortunately, that is why I did dock them the 1 point, and so they only got a 4 out of 5 screams on that. But I'm trying to not be too much of a stickler because they are an old school haunt, and technically, if you look back on it in the olden days, not the olden days, but the original days of the original haunted houses, that was what haunted house were, was the black tarp and the 2x4. So in a way, I kind of have to play devil's advocate here, but because I have judged other haunted houses based on that, I do have to dock them the point for the 2x4 and the black tarp. So, just in the essence of fairness. So for costumes, makeup, and special effects, we did give them a 5 out of 5. Reason being, all of the costumes and makeup that I saw were very good. There was a good mix. Everything that you experienced had people being dressed in something different. You might see somebody in a horror icons costume, so Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface. Other people were unique characters that you may not know. They did a really great job with this, with doing the whole mix and match and making sure nothing was too similar. And there was a lot of really great makeup done as well, a lot of characters with makeup. Lots of great things. I don't want to even dive too much into it because I think they did a very good job with that. Now, in terms of technical effects, like I said, this is an old school haunt, so we're not so much rating it based upon, did this haunt have a bunch of technical effects? Because obviously it really didn't. But it's more so how they use them. And that's the same for all of our haunts. It's never how many technical effects they have, it's how they're using them and if they're being used effectively to tell the story that they're trying to tell. In the case of Cedar Creek Haunt, yes, in spades, beautiful job. Because all of the technical effects, which really is just some lighting and sound effects and some music, works beautifully to create this eerie ambiance, and it achieves the goal it wants to achieve very, very well. When you first enter that Myers house facade, you've got the music playing, the Halloween soundtrack kind of playing very eerily, and you're sort of walking through slowly, and because you're hearing that, and especially for me because I was by myself, I'm sort of like tiptoeing through the room like I'm actually in the Halloween film. And it was so funny because I'm just like, you idiot, you're not in the film right now, calm down. But it still was such a neat thing to do, a neat aspect to tie everything together and make it really, really cool. So they did a great job with that, and then the lighting is really dark, and you can't see a whole lot in front of you, and then when you get in the maze, it's pitch black darkness, and like everything just worked so well together. When you get on the trail, there's great scenes with lighting doing different things, and the audio, and all that fun stuff. Everything just works so well together, and they did a really good job. Now on to the scares. So for scares, we gave them a 5 out of 5 screams. So all I can say is, throughout this haunt, every scare I got. So when you first enter that Myers house, you are getting scared by this guy who's playing Michael Myers, which we'll talk about him a little bit later. He is, they're doing practical scares in here. They're not doing, shots of air to the back of your neck. They're not doing a big fake electrical unit electrocuting to scare you. They're not using these new age scares, if you will. They're going with the old-fashioned scares, jumping out, hitting a wall, going boo, doing something psychological. That's the scares, to me, that are most effective. And they do a really great job with them. There's a guy who plays Michael Myers, and when you're in that first area, you're sort of walking around looking for him, you don't see him. Then you'll see him at the end of the hallway, and then he disappears. And you're just like, where the hell did he go? And then he bangs on the wall as loud as he can. And let me tell you, I about crapped myself when that happened, because I did not know where he was, and there he was. It felt like you were in a movie, and honestly, I have never been so scared in my life. I've only been that scared in one other haunted house, and they know who they are. It's also in South Carolina. But you are just scared to death. And then you get to the next portion, which is the maze. And it's pitch black in there. You see nothing. And the actors will just flash on their flashlight real quick and scare the crap out of you. Literally being inches from your face, making you fall back and scream bloody murder. My heart was pounding in this part of the haunt. Absolutely pounding. I was so scared. And then you get on the back half, the trail. And again, more great scares, more great moments where people are jumping out and catching you and scaring the living bejesus out of you. It really, really is great, in my opinion. So for pacing, we gave them a 3 out of 5. So the reason we gave them a 3 out of 5 is because of the logistics of it, really. It's a logistical problem. So the haunt itself is a good length, because it might take you a minute to get through the Myers house portion. It might take you a minute to get through the maze portion. And then the trail on the back isn't too terribly long, but it sort of evens out with everything. Well, the problem is with how long it takes some people to get out of that maze. It took me, I think, a lot longer than they thought it would take someone. And so I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to get out. And luckily, I was the last one going through, so I wasn't holding anybody up. But there was one group that had gone ahead of me. And I actually sort of learned this later on. But what they do is they put you in the Myers house. Once you get out of the Myers house, they put you in the maze. Well, they won't let the next group come through until the group ahead of them is out of that maze. So that sort of gets a little tricky, because you've got this group ahead that's trying to figure their way out, and it's just making the wait time even longer and more excruciating. So if there's a way to maybe lengthen the Myers house part to make it take longer to get through there, that way it buys the people more time in the maze portion. And then even maybe lengthen the trail. There's a lot of space, it looks like, for them to play with different things. I would love to see the overall length of this haunt get extended even more. And I think, like they said, they may have extended it this year. But I want more. I want so much more, because it looks like they've got a lot of land to play with. So if there was a way to make certain aspects longer, make the trail at the end longer, maybe make the maze maybe perhaps less complicated to get out of, but longer as well. Make the Myers portion a little bit longer. Maybe make it more, you explore more of the house or something. I don't know. Do something to extend it a little bit. Finally, we've got the actors and team. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm being real nitpicky. Very, very nitpicky, because that's what I do. And I don't want this to negatively reflect the people or me. So I want to get that out there right away. First and foremost, the people at this haunt are the most down-to-earth, amazing human beings I've ever encountered at a haunted house. They love their job. They love what they're doing. They love every single thing about it. They're devoted. They laugh that when I told them I was a haunt reviewer coming through and I was going to review them, feature them on the show, they were so excited. They were telling everybody. I told one lady at the ticket booth, and she texted her daughter who did one thing, and then pretty soon word got around to the owner. And by the end of it, I'm coming out of the haunt. I'm the last one coming through, and the whole team is sort of standing there at the end asking me what I thought. And it was just a humbling experience, a great experience. I'm glad I got to sort of meet them all at once at the end there. But they did an amazing job, and they're so awesome. They're so awesome. They're very sweet people. Every actor was giving it 110%. From what I understand, they had a really rough night the night I went there. Some idiots went through and sort of trashed a bunch of stuff, and yet they were still pushing through till the end. And utmost respect. Top marks for them. The reason the actors and team get a 4 out of 5. Like I said, very nitpicky here. There was one moment it was on the trail portion towards the end. I was in the scene. I was interacting with the people in there. One of the actors, I believe they have some younger kids working here. And so I try to not be too harsh because it is a younger kid, but I gotta be fair too. The younger kid actually took off his mask and was sort of like watching to see, I guess, kind of what my reaction would be. And unfortunately, he did not do it discreetly enough to where I didn't notice him doing it because he was standing in plain view where I could see him. And so because he did that is why I docked them a point on actors and team, because as I've said in my last episode, if you watched episode 43, you can't break character. You cannot walk out of the scene, so to speak. And that kid sort of did. And like I said, I try not to be too harsh. He is a kid, I get it. He might have just been curious as to what my reaction would be and wanted to see if I was going to enjoy it, and I get it. So I try not to be too harsh. But at the same time, I've got to be fair. And in the effort of fairness, that was breaking character, breaking the fourth wall in a way, and stepping out of the scene. And so I have to dock a little bit of points for that. But still, people there are very sweet people, awesome people, and they deserve such great success. I wish them nothing but the best. So let us review. For the sets, we gave them a 4 out of 5. For costumes and makeup, a 5 out of 5. For technical effects, a 5 out of 5. Scares, a 5 out of 5. Pacing, a 3 out of 5. And actors and team, a 4 out of 5. Leading to a grand total of, drumroll please, 4 out of 5 screams. So, Cedar Creek Haunted House is a 4 out of 5 rated haunted house. Very, very fun. Really enjoyed it. It's a very good haunted house to attend if you get a chance. If you're up there in that Bishopville area, go check it out. Give these people some support. I guarantee you, I promise you, you will not be disappointed with them. Everybody was very complimentary, very excited to be there. Other people who had gone through were coming through saying, this was better than going to Screammakers or Kreepy Hollow. A lot of people said they had just come from those ones and they were not that excited with those ones, but they really enjoyed this one. This is a fun haunt. This is a classic haunt. You don't see many of these anymore, and so it's so important to get to check these out. And it's important to support the smaller haunted houses too. It's kind of like small businesses. We want to support small businesses. You want to support the smaller haunted houses, not just the mega ones. So I highly encourage you, if you get a chance, please, 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 go and check out my friends at Cedar Creek Haunted House. You will not be disappointed. And congratulations to Cedar Creek Haunted House for a fabulous 4 Scream rating. You deserve it. It is well deserved. And honestly, we cannot wait until next year to see what you guys do, to see how you further this, to see how you take their critiques and run with them and create a beautiful show next year. So if you want to purchase tickets, you can purchase them when you arrive at Cedar Creek Haunted House. They are $10. Their hours are 8 to 12 a.m., so 8 p.m. to midnight. They will be open every Friday and Saturday from October 1st through October 30th, and will be open on Sunday, October 31st for Halloween. Obviously, they're open for Halloween. So by the time you're watching this video, you only have the day of this video's release and the next day, so the 30th and the 31st. So go check it out. Run. Do not walk. Run to this haunted house. Go follow their social media for more information and to keep up with them. And go check out their Facebook and their Instagram and their website. They're located at 2681 Camden Highway, Bishopville, South Carolina, 29010. All right, we're going to take a short little break to hear from our sponsor. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Hall of Horrors. Don't go anywhere. Hey there, Terror Talk fans. Are you looking for a new way to let your voice be heard? If so, check out our friends at Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for creating your very own podcast. They offer editing tools to create your podcast, which include your audio, listener audio, unique transitions, and custom advertisements. In addition, they'll also help you distribute your podcast to other listener sources, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many others. With this unique app, you also have the chance to get paid for your podcast by simply placing ads for various sponsors in your videos. Best part of it all? It is 100% free. Anchor does all the work for you and makes podcasting as simple as turning on a light. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM. Whether you're new to podcasting, doing it as a hobby, or hosting a professional show, Anchor is the place for you. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, on episode 44 of the Terror Talks. Before the break, we were talking all about Cedar Creek Haunted House. And now we're going to be talking about the Hall of Horrors Haunted House. So we're just going to dive right in. So on Friday, October 1st, Hall of Horrors opened their doors to their first unsuspecting victims for the 2021 haunt season with the theme Blood Moon Rising. Our walk-through haunted house style attraction is recommended for ages 12 and up, but parental guidance is suggested. All proceeds benefit local and state charities, including South Carolina JC Camp Hope, a camp experience designed for children and adults with learning disabilities and special needs. Camp Hope is located on Lake Hartwell in upstate South Carolina. Other charities that the CWC JCs contribute to include the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, Hidden Wounds, the Wounded Warrior Project, the Feel Good Foundation, Sister Care, Families Helping Families, and Harvest Hope. So this haunted house is a really, really good cause. Right out the gate, that's all I can say is it's a really good cause, and you absolutely need to support them if you can. So let's dive right in to Hall of Horrors, and let's just break it down. And I don't think it'll take us very long to do it, because this was an overall very positive trip. So, initial thoughts upon arriving there. You see this great big building, or not great big, it's not huge, but I mean, you see it and you know you're in for a haunted house sort of treat. It's a bigger scale one, it's not quite your typical backyard haunt one. It's a little higher class than that, but it's not quite giant either. So it's an interesting experience. You're wondering where you're going to be going on this journey. You wonder how it's going to be, how you're going to fare on it. It's interesting to say the least, and you don't really know what to expect until you get inside. And once you get inside, your expectations are actually exceeded. It's very, very cool inside. They do some really cool things. I will say one negative is that you wait in this line outside only to wait in line inside. So it's a little irritating to have that sort of thing happen, but it happens. Why not? So let's break it down. For sets, we gave them 5 out of 5 screams. The sets in this haunted house were actually amazing. There was so much detail, so much finite details put into every little thing. You felt like you were going through so many different locations. At one point, you felt like you were going through a schoolhouse. You felt like you were going into a church. You felt like you were walking through a cemetery at night. There were so many wonderful set designs in this house. They did a really good job in making sure every little piece was detailed to the absolute T. Dot the I's, cross the T's. They did what they had to do to make it feel authentic as possible. It was absolutely mind-blowing. We were absolutely mind-blown. And that's honestly all we can say about it. For costumes and makeup, we gave them a 5 out of 5. The costumes and makeup were really good in here. Everybody sort of had unique, different things. Nobody looked the same. There were all sorts of different sort of creatures you ran into. At one point, you ran into a nun. At one point, you ran into little school children. There's so many different things, so many different people you ran into. And it was very, very neat. Lots of really fun stuff going on in this haunt. It was a unique experience. At one point, I think you even ran into the devil, like a Satan worshiper or something like that. It's kind of cool. For technical effects, they use technical effects to their advantage very nicely in here. A lot of lighting, sound, and fog effects being used to the absolute max in here. There were several rooms where the fog was just billowing out, and it was really, really cool. They created this awesome ambiance with the lighting and the sound together to really make you feel like you were in these different locations. They had some moving pieces as well, things that moved around, and animatronic figures and whatnot. And it was really neat. Like, they put a lot of detail into this, which is really shocking because it's this much smaller sort of thing. You probably wouldn't expect it to be as good as it was. Then for scares, we gave them a 5 out of 5 screams. Every corner we turned, we were getting scared. I was in a group of 3. These 2 people went through with me. And we got every single scare. We never missed one. And every single one had us jumping, whether it was coming from below, above, behind, beside. You name it, they had it. And they were very strategic about where each of these scares came from. You almost never could really figure it out because they were coming from all sides, from all angles, coming from different rooms that you wouldn't necessarily expect them to come from. It was very, very well put together in terms of scares, and we were screaming left and right going through this one, honestly. I mean, there were so many moments where I was just like, where's it going to come from now? Because it was really sort of unpredictable in that regard. So, great job on the scares. I mean, we were screaming like babies. So, up next, we got the pacing. And unfortunately, I hit the pacing really rough with a 2 out of 5. This haunted house is over before it even begins. So, you almost want to believe that this is going to be a really, really long haunted house, that you're going to experience a lot on this. And you do, but you just experience it in a very short amount of time. And like I said, you're done before the fun even starts to kick in. You go through all these scenes, but it is quick. It is very, very short. And I think it probably took us less than 10 minutes to go through the entire thing, which was really a little upsetting because we waited about, I'd say probably about 30 minutes, maybe 40. It was definitely a longer wait than we had anticipated. And then to add on to the pacing downfalls, the line wait time is just sort of ridiculous. I mean, I get what they're doing, and I get that when you go from one line, then you get put into another line. I get that they can't just shove everybody into that room, but I have to wonder, like, why do it that way, because it just seems to make things take even longer, and it just, the flow could be worked on and improved upon to make things flow a little quicker. And if there was a way to extend the haunt somehow, I don't know how that could even be done, but if there was a way to do it, I would be all for it. I would love to see some sort of expansion, if that's even a possibility. Maybe expand it to the outdoor, because it looks like they've got a lot of land they can play. Not a lot of land, but a good bit of land back there that's actually pretty dark that they could potentially play with, and maybe do an outdoor section of the haunt. I don't know if that's something they've ever experimented with or explored, but I feel like that'd be really, really cool. Then we have the actors and the team. So the actors and team, you can tell they're really excited to be here. They really enjoy their job. Everybody is 100% top notch the whole time you're there. Everybody is, when they're not scaring, they're laughing, having a good time, cutting up. They really enjoy being at this location. I don't think I saw a frown on anybody's face. I don't think I saw anybody upset to be working there. Then you've got the actors who are all in, 100% devoted the entirety of the time that they are working. They are doing their best to scare you beyond your wits and make sure that you are leaving there screaming and remembering this place. And they do a really good job. You can tell they're really devoted. And on top of that, I mean, come on. It's obviously such a great cause, and these people clearly have such a big heart that, really they're just scaring for the fun of it and giving to an amazing charity, an amazing cause. So, good on them. I mean, good on them. So let's review. Sets, we have a 5 out of 5. Costume and makeup, we got a 5 out of 5. Technical effects, 5 out of 5. Scares, 5 out of 5. Pacing, 2 out of 5. And actors and team, we have a 5 out of 5 to an overall rating of, drumroll please, 4.5 scream. So that's 4.5 out of 5 screams. So it's just on the cusp of being 5 screams. It's close. It's very, very close. Because the production quality is very, very good at this place. Hall of Horrors, the little haunt that just sort of popped up out of nowhere. I found it, I think, about 3 years ago when I was dating a girl who was up in that neck of the woods up in Columbia. This is obviously in Casey, but we would drive around and we happened upon it one day, but we couldn't go to it because it wasn't, we weren't going to be there in time for it. But, I've always wondered about that haunt ever since I had seen it the first time, and now I'm finally glad I can say I've experienced it. I actually know what lied in store for us inside of it, and I'm really glad I did. Like, the production value is really, really high. They did a great job. The team did a great job. Everybody putting things together. The scares were there. The sets were there. Everything was there in spades. I mean, they did a really good job. Yes, the haunt was a little short. I would have liked a lot more to it. And maybe that's something that they can explore in the future. Maybe potentially look at cutting out that front room where they have a sort of a holding area and potentially expanding the haunt into that area, making it just a little bit longer if possible. I don't know if that's something they can do, but I would like to see that maybe be experimented with. Who knows? But they did a great job in my book. I was really, really impressed. I left very happy. I did not feel like I wasted my money by any means. And I was just very, very thrilled to experience it. And, once again, I can't say enough that, just the fact that they're doing this for a great cause and all the proceeds are going to these fabulous causes out there is just so heartwarming and so reassuring. Because some people, I mean, it's great that some haunted houses will use the cash to better their events, and then some will use it to pay their actor stuff. But these guys are clearly all volunteering and sending all of the money to something that is really, really good, very, very important to them. And I love that. I think that this is the first time I think we've encountered that at a haunted house. So good on them. Good on them. You don't find good people like that, and I'm just very, very honored and humbled to have gotten to attend their event. So if you want to purchase tickets for Hall of Horrors, you can purchase them when you arrive at the haunt. Tickets are $10 and $20 for the Skip the Line ticket. They are open from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. They will be open October 1st through October 30th, every Friday and Saturday, and will be open on Sunday, October 31st for Halloween. So by the time this video is coming out, you will only have 2 days left to check this haunt out. October 30th and October 31st, Halloween. So get it down there. Check it out if you can. It's located up in Casey, South Carolina, which is literally a jump away from Columbia. Like, if you're in Columbia, 2 seconds and you're there. Be sure to go check out their social media to keep up with them for more information for not only, the ending of this year, but the future years to come. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All their information is in the description below. And you can check out their website as well, which is also listed. They are located at 1153 Walter Price Street, Casey, South Carolina, 29033. Be sure to go check them out today. That's the Hall of Horrors haunted house. You don't want to miss it. But that is going to do it for us today here on episode 44 of the Terror Talks. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you didn't like. Let us know what you want to hear. You can send us messages and contact us directly by sending us an email to theterrortalks@gmail.com, or you can reach us on any one of our social medias. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Go check it out. You don't want to miss it. If you want to give us a little bit of extra support, you can go subscribe to our Patreon, where we have several different packages that you can browse and see what you feel like you might want to subscribe to. All the proceeds from the Patreon go back into the podcast and the show, into making the show better, to bettering the content we have, to furthering us and keeping us going. We also do accept donations, and you can find a donation link on our Anchor page. Any little bit of donation that you can give helps, whether it's a penny, $1, $2, whatever you feel comfortable giving. Fantastic. Your contribution means the world to us, and it will allow us to further this show and take the steps in the forward direction to make the show even better. Finally, we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in with us each and every episode, and we want to thank you for just being loyal this 2021 haunt season. I know we're starting to come to a close on it. We're going to keep doing things up until the second week in November, because there are still a couple haunts that will be open through November 13th, 14th, that weekend. So we're going to keep going. We're not stopping at Halloween. I know some, will probably check out at that point after Halloween is over. But we're going to go a little bit further. We've got a couple more we're going to check out. So, stick with us. We are approaching the end of the 2021 season, and with that, the end of the podcast season, and we will take a little hiatus for a little bit to just sort of breathe, recoup, rejuvenate. But we will be back before you know it with season 3. We've got great things coming up. Christmas is coming up, so we're going to have some awesome haunts information for Christmas, because there's several that we already know of that are going to be doing some Christmas haunts. So we're excited about that, and we're definitely going to try and check those out. And there's so many good things. We're very thrilled to announce that we have a brand new co-host on the show. Her name is Brooke. She's from Ohio, and she will be joining us very, very soon in the coming weeks, really, probably in the coming days. But she is very thrilled to be a part of the team. We're very thrilled to have her on the part of the team. And so she will be our new official co-host, and you will be hearing her voice coming up very, very soon. So be sure to check all that stuff out. Keep up with us. And like I said, let us know what you want to hear. And again, thank you so much for supporting us and being here on this journey with us. But that is going to do it for us today on episode 44 of the Terror Talks. We hope that you guys have a great day. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive. And be excellent to each other. Take care, guys. We'll see you in the fog.